Hi folks, done a lot of work here in the garden over the weekend. As you can see, it's all been levelled out now. I've got to get it rotavated, but we've only got an old rotavator which Gary got given to him and it doesn't run at the moment. So we're gonna have a go at trying to fix that rotavator today. And that means that I can get this finish off, get the topsoil put on, dig all the weeds up, and then we can get it seeded. By the way, if you want to see this video with all the work that's gone on in the garden, pop over to my Butler's Empire channel and I'll leave a card up there so that if you click on that, you can actually go and visit that video and watch that as well. Anyway, I've got a bad shoulder, so I can't do too much today, and let's get going and I'll see you in a minute. Right, as you can probably hear in the polytunnel, it is pouring with rain, and this is the old rotavator, or apparently I've been informed that it's actually called a cultivator, this one, or a rotor tiller, something like that. But we did try and start it the other day on my Butler's Empire channel. It didn't want to know. The previous owner bought a separate carb for it. He said this was the original one that come off it, and he couldn't get it to start, so he bought another one which looks like another second-hand one, and that one, we put some fuel down into the head and it did kick and start, but it was leaking fuel out of there, so it does need work. It looks like the fuel tank on and off switch up here could be possibly blocked as well. But what I think I'll do is I think we'll take this original carb, oh listen to that rain, and clean it up, put it in the ultrasonic cleaner, and then we'll refit this and see if we can get it to start. Come on, Barney. Yeah, it's not very nice out here at the moment. So I'm going to make a dash for it, get into the log cabin. Yeah, there we go. That's all the work we had done the weekend. You might remember all them weeds and all stuff that was there. And as I say, we're just below surface now. But there are things like weeds sticking up still. Not too many. Like here, for example. You know, that sort of thing. And the tiller or cultivator should pull all these up fine. So hopefully when it's dry. So there we go, that's that. Let's get going and have a look at this carb. So before I do any work at all to a carburetor, if it's a dirty condition like this one is, I like to just give it a clean down on the outside just to make sure that we don't get any crud going inside. So it don't take a second to do, and it just means you've got a nice clean and working environment. As you can see, look, if I show you that there, by the time you're picking stuff up, you can infiltrate the carb with all that crap. So I like to get all that off, and I normally just put petrol on there or fuel, but WD-40 in this case will do just as good a job, I would imagine. So I'm just going to give it a good wipe over, get all that rubbish off, and then we'll blow it down with an air compressor, and then we'll decide to take it apart. There we go, nice clean carburetor and a nice clean working environment. So I'm going to start stripping this down. I'm not familiar with this carb, so we're going to play it by ear and start off by undoing the float bowl. And you can never go by the settings, as I say, because I don't know who's been in here before. I have got a manual on this roto tiller or cultivator, and that will tell me the baseline setting. So I'm just going to take the float bowl off, remembering where everything comes from. On the left hand side there's a little clip there that holds, looks like springs on or something, so I've just got to be aware of that. And that's a shorter screw on the left hand side. So just open that little float bowl up, and that reveals a little float on the inside. There's a gasket there which can come off. I've got to be careful because I haven't got any of these gaskets, so I'm going to try not to damage them. So there's the little gasket off there, a little float on the inside there, which appears to be maybe a little bit bent, that pin on that, but There's the inside of the float bowl, and it has a little hole in the edge quite high up of the float bowl, so obviously when the fuel comes up it must trickle out of there if it overfills. I don't know, it's a strange design, but that's what it is. So that's the float bowl anyway, and there's a couple of screws here. If I just count how many turns this jet is in first of all, so that is basically fully in, that one, half a turn. So I'm going to take that one straight out on the top there, and it's sort of a cap, that one, so that wasn't a jet at all, that was a little cap. There is a jet inside. Now whether or not this can go in there and unscrew, I'm not too sure, so I think I need a smaller screwdriver. See if we can unscrew that. Right, okay, yeah, so we've got that one out, and I will give that a good clean. There are some holes in that which appear to be blocked, so I'll keep them two together, and then we'll have a look at this one here. Half, that's about half screw, half a turn out. Whether or not this is a cap as well, I'm not sure. Yeah, that's just another cap in there, and there is no jet in there. That just meets up with that other one, so that's that there. And that, I think that's all we've got in there, apart from our butterfly for our choke there, as you can probably see. So that is stripped down as far as I can get it stripped down. So I'll put that bit to one side there, and looking at the top body of the carb, that's the throttle, and there is another jet here, which is obviously the main jet. So if we undo that, yep, that's that, the main jet. I can see the hole through there, that looks in that it's not blocked, so I'm pretty happy with that. So I think what we'll better do now, this is as far as I can really strip it down. Is that a mixture screw there? How many screws out is that? So that's half, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3. 3 turns out, so let's take that right away out now. That's probably a mixture screw, I would imagine. So 2.5 to 3 turns out. I'd probably say 2.5 turns on that one. So we'll leave that out there. There's nothing really more to take off of the throttle body. So I'm going to put this in the ultrasonic cleaner now, with that and the jets, which I've got over here. I'll give it a good clean, put it on for about half an hour in some hot water and a little drop of thinners, and we'll blow it out with a compressor, put it back together, and change this over for the one that's already on there, and see if we can get this thing to run. If not, I'll have to strip down the other carb. As I say, I don't know whether or not there may be parts missing on this or whatever, I'm not too sure, but we'll do the best we can. The float looks okay, although that little needle does look a little bit bent. I don't know whether that's supposed to be like that or not, or it's just a poor design, but we'll see anyway. It doesn't appear to be leaking at all, but that does appear to be a little bit bent, that shaft on there, but I could straighten it up. We'll see, we'll play it by ear. Anyway, let me get that in there and I'll see you in a minute. Right, there you go, that'll do. Little drop of thinners. I like to put a little drop of thinners in there. Be careful, this can bubble up if you ain't careful. I just find it cuts through the lacquer that can build up on the inside of carburetors. So we'll just drop that in there, like that. In with the float bolt, and I'll just put these little bits in there as well, like that. And I like to just put a little bit of the cleaning fluid in the cup, and I'll just let that dangle in there like that. Switcher on. Temperature's up to 76 degrees at the moment, and I'm going to put this on for 30 minutes. There we go. And I'll leave that like that, buzzing away for half an hour. Lid on. And time for a cup of tea. Let's have a look at that weather out there. Okay, here we are 30 minutes later. The water's quite cloudy, which is what I expected anyway, so let's just get the little jets out first. Yeah, there's loads of grit that comes off of them. I don't know if you can see in the bottom there. There's lots of little bits of grit that come off there, so they really do benefit from a clean in the ultrasonic cleaner. So we'll get out our carb that's been cleaned. Although this was painted by the looks of it, so I'll give it a good blow off and the wire brush off. So that's that. Let's put it over on the worktop. And I like to give them a good blow off. Put my goggles on, let's put that over there for the minute, that one. And just get rid of any residue in there. And all that paint is just literally blowing off anyway. Right, that's the two bodies blown down. Let's get them little jets out of there. There's the main jet. And I also will give these little jets a run through with carb cleaner as well, just to make sure that they are clean. And if necessary, the very, very small holes in this little jet here, I'll put the jet cleaning rods through them. So I'll just dry everything off. Again, at this stage of the game, you really want to make sure that everything is kept clean. So easy to pick up rubbish off of a dirty old worktop. And the last thing you want is to incorporate a little bit of grit in a jet. Right, I've got these little welding tip cleaners, as you can see, and they go down to quite small, but some of these jets or emulsion tubes, on the side of them, the holes are really, really small, and they're not quite sometimes enough. So I've also got a set of these things. These are very, very small drill pieces. I don't know whether you can see them there. They go really down to really, really tiny. And what these can be used for is to clean them little holes. But you want to be careful, you don't snap these off in the holes. And I can now see that that isn't a hole around the side now. It's a number 52 that's on the side there. So the main jet going through there is clear. And that's the main part I'm concerned about now. I thought that was holes around the edge there, but you want to know how I know, or how I can see that small thing? Because I've also got one of these, and when you put this on and hold it really, really near, you can see everything. So it might seem an old fogies thing, but sometimes when your eyes are a little bit sensitive when you get a bit older, you may need something like that. They're only cheap anyway. So that was that. So I now know that that jet's clean. I know the main jet's clean. So I'm just going to put these back together. Keep me little drills, as you can see there. They go down to, what size do they go down to there? Let's have a look. 0.1 of a millimetre. So they go down really, really small. And I just got them off of eBay. And as I say, they come like that, but they're very handy. Sometimes these are still too big. So just another thing to have in your arsenal if you're doing a lot of carb work. Right, I'm going to put this back together and then we'll get it fitted to the machine and see if we can get it started. I just thought I'd show you this. Although this has got a choke fitted, as you can see on the bottom of the float bowl there, when it's in line it's open. When it's horizontal that way, the choke is closed. It's got a thing called a tickler. Now, what you do, this is the top of the carb, obviously, and you're supposed to just tickle that thing there. Used to be on a lot of old carbs, this obviously being an old carb, and you tickle the fuel through. Now what that basically does, if I just show you that where that's going to be sitting on there like that, so your float, which is going to be sitting in the float bowl, in the bottom like that, that sits down there, so that when your needle jet goes in there, the float, when you turn the fuel on, the float lifts up and it reaches a level. And when it reaches a level, that rod, which is the tickler, which is just literally a rod going straight through the top of the carb there, pushes on the top of the float and basically pushes the float back down. And in the side or the front part there of the carb, there is a hole. And what that allows you to see is basically you've got fuel in your float bowl, because there's no real way of knowing that you've got fuel in there. And what you would do is you would tickle the carb by pressing that, which in turn would push the float down, so the float would allow more fuel in until it reaches that level there, and the fuel will then come out of there, and then you'd know you've got enough fuel in the carburetor to start the engine basically. So that's what a tickler does. It's no more than just a little plunger which pushes down on the float, on the top of the float there, and means that you take it past its level and it should just run out of there, so you know that you've got fuel in the float bowl. So that's what this tickler does on this type of Zenith carburetor. Right, I thought I'd try and get it into the workshop. It stopped raining outside now, so I took a chance. And this is a lot easier said than done. Bearing in mind I've got a bad shoulder. Span the gap. There we go. Yes, there we go. How about that? Just makes it easier to work in here, doesn't it? Right, let's shut that door. Right, so I want to pull that feed off of the carb, because I'm sure that this may not be working. Let's try. There is fuel coming out there, so we have got fuel coming out. There we go. I think it might have been blocked, but it's all right now, so I can turn that off. So I'm not going to need to take the fuel tank off at the moment, so I need to disconnect this throttle control here. Hello baby, careful, mind me back. Well, it's not my back, it's the shoulder neck actually is what it is.
You've heard that before, have you?
No, I've said it about 4 or 5 times on the other video.
More than that.
I'm just going to change the carb over and then...
Stinks of petrol.
Yeah, so I want to make sure it works so we can get that garden sorted, as you probably know, baby. So what have you been up to? You been busy?
Oh yeah, I've been to see Gary.
Have you?
Yeah.
How is he?
He said he's got a bad back. And I said, have you? Then he went, no.
He doesn't know that I've actually got this up on the counter and I'm working on these rotivator or cultivator. So that's what I'm up to, Shao. I'll be in a minute anyway. I'm going to have a cup of tea. I just want to change this carb over. If I can get it to fire, that's the main thing, and get it to run. That's all I'm worried about. We're not going to service it. I will check the oil. It's got 2 lots of oil in this, apparently. You've got a crankcase engine oil, and you've also got a chain oil. So they're both SAE 30, and I think they both take about...
No, that's a Suffolk lawnmower.
half a pint each. What's that?
Suffolk Lawnmowers Limited.
Yeah, that's the engine shell.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's a Qualcast cultivator, but obviously they use different parts, baby.
It needs a bit of love and attention.
Yes, well, that will come, but we need it working first of all, so that's got to earn its money, baby. So I'll let you go inside.
Make your tea. Yeah.
While I can... No, I don't want tea yet, baby. I'll let you know when I come in. And I'll see you in a minute, baby. I'm just going to take this carb off. Okay, so I've put the fuel pipe back on. I've wound the what I think is the mixture screw in or out 2.5 turns, and connected up these throttle cables. I'm not too sure on the settings on these yet, so we'll have to play this by ear. If I wind it right, it's like a governor control, that one. That's the speed control there, so we'll play that one by ear. And let's just turn the fuel on. Fuel's coming down the pipe there, as you can see. And we'll operate that tickler. And we're hoping that that float is raising, and hopefully that it will come out of this little hole. And I can see fuel there. Yeah, it's running out of that little hole. So there we go, look. See that dripping you got is where it's coming out of that little hole there. Don't really like that idea, but what can you do? It's pouring out of there actually. I'm not too sure about that. I have to investigate that further. So the choke is on. Now I'm going to go for a test start, okay? I'm going to drop it down the level. So let's turn that down. Get it down to floor level at least. I'm going to leave it on there. So stop, minimum, maximum. So we'll put it on minimum. The choke's on. This has got points apparently. Right, I'm going to stop it there for a minute. Turn that fuel off for a minute. I'm not too happy with that pouring out like that. I want to put a little container under there. Right, that's a bit better. Just have a regroup. So we know we've got fuel getting to the carb. I want to check the spark again, because we did check for spark the other day. We had one, but I don't know whether it was really a good spark, so I'll just check to see whether or not we have got fuel there. I would say we have, because yeah, that's really wet, look. I'm just going to blow there. Sometimes you can over fuel it. And they don't like starting. Right, okay. So that's that. I'll just test for spark again. I don't know if you can see that or not, can you? There we go, look. Good spark. So if we've got a good spark and fuel, should be able to start. So I'm going to put that plug back in. Before, when we tried this, there was no fuel getting to it. So we know we've got fuel getting to it now. So let's just nip that up. Put that plug lead back on. Yep, we've got a good connection. There's a hell of a lot of fuel coming out there. Look, I'm sure that shouldn't be like that. Right, I decided to put it on the floor. Right, it's trying to run. There we go, come on. I don't think it's going to be a quick fix, this one, unfortunately. It is firing, but I'm going to have to check things like head gasket, compression, because I'm noticing a bit of blowback through the head gasket. It looks like, I'll just roughly check, just check these quickly. No, it's tightened there. There is a bit of smoke coming out from the head gasket area, so it may need to have a bit more work than what a carb sort out. I can get it running for a second, like then. Right, well, as I say, it looks like it's going to have to be a complete check over of the engine. It could be gummed up rings, it could be compression. We know we've got fuel and spark now. Could even be valves. But that's not for this video. We were just hoping for a quick carb clean and to get it working. But obviously it's going to need more work than that, so. It's virtually trying to run, but something's still holding it up. Try a full choke. As you can see, it is trying to run. But like, as I say, a gummed up valve could stop that from running. Head gasket might have gone, we don't know. Or it might have low compression with sticky rings. See it fired then, look. Right, I'm going to leave it there then for this one. You will see this again in a future video. We'll probably have the head off of it. We'll do a compression test first and we'll take it from there. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed this little tinkering about video. I've got to get it going because we want to use it in the garden. So you'll see this coming up very, very shortly in another video. This quick fix didn't quite work, but you don't win them all. There you go. If you like my videos, do hit the subscribe button and ring the little notification bell down there. Set your preferences to all, that way you get notified every time I upload a video. You can't win them all. See you in the next video, and until then, bye for now. It's not having it.